Robyn Maxum with, I think, an assist from Melissa Trujillo. Robyn's our director of our Hope PDO and Preschool, and she's going to give you a little update on how things are going, how COVID has affected them, and then they're doing a little drive. We have some much needed upgrades that are needed on the playground, and she's going to give you an update on that. And if you are so moved, our donations this week can be checks made out to Hope with PDO Playground on the memo line. All right, ladies.
Can everyone see the president? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, does that mean it's me? Okay, so we're just going to start up, just go with a little bit of the history of the school. Hope PDO and Preschool started in January 1980 with 3 classrooms 2 days a week. Now, 41 years later, wow, we have 10 classrooms with most of them full 5 days a week. We are licensed for 103 students each day, and we have 30-some staff depending on the year. Hope Preschool is a well-known and respected school in our area. That was our picture this year. That's our staff picture. Is that fun?
Isn't that so cute? I love it. So Hope PDO and Preschool is proud always to partner with the Greater Hope Church. And some of the ways that we do that are our parents and families are very involved in church missions, be it Food for All at Thanksgiving or our Advent and Lent collections. The kids at the preschool love getting involved with the children's ministries programs. You could see here Trunk or Treat, VBS, the summer camps. The preschool has, over the years, made many improvements to the actual church building. A few years ago, they put new carpet downstairs. We've remodeled a number of bathrooms downstairs, and the preschool gave a donation to the church to help when it was time to replace the roof a few years ago. And finally, many church members attend Hope Preschool. Many church members, such as Janet, who's on the call, myself, we work at the preschool. I always tell the story that I blame Kate Stapleton for getting me here because I called her 10 years ago and said, do you know any preschools that will take Harper? And she said, let me walk downstairs and ask Carol if there's any openings. And here I am. So as you know, last year was a difficult ending for our school year. The preschool, like all of the schools in Colorado, closed at the end of March, but we were able to still connect with our families and little guys through the rest of the year. Teachers did weekly Zooms where they would read stories, eat lunch together, do show and tells. Our staff created a couple of really adorable videos to send love and support to our families. You might have seen those in Hope Happenings. And at the end of the year, we were able to have a car parade where the kids came in their cars and they got to see their teachers for one last time, get their treats and surprises, and sort of show love to each other from a distance. And then in June, we were able to have smaller graduations outside on the lawn, where we were able to say goodbye to all of our pre-K kids before they started kindergarten. The preschool did not charge tuition in April or May, but thanks to our reserve funds that we have been saving for years and years for just such an emergency, we were able to pay the staff for those 2 months as promised.
Okay, so now we're down to this school year. We had a small group of staff that spent the summer planning, troubleshooting, and brainstorming ways to follow the state guidelines to keep everyone safe, healthy, and happy. There were a lot of changes that we had to make. The church has been great in letting us use all of the 3 main doors for our staggered drop-off and pickup times. We've been able to stay open all year. Our parents are thrilled and so grateful that their little ones are going to school. While we had to change many things, we were able to do our annual Christmas program COVID style this year. Still can't hear it, Melissa, but all good. There was volume though.
Oh, is there no volume?
No, there's no volume.
Oh, shoot. Hold on just a second. Let me restart that. I'm sorry. I thought I.
Welcome to the Hope Christmas program of 2020. I hope you enjoy our favorite Christmas song.
Yes, maybe she'll be back one.
It is for angels. There were one, there were two, there were three little angels, there were four, there were five, there were six little angels, there were seven, there were eight, there were nine little angels, 10 little angels in a band.
There's Janet.
My babies.
I know, Janet and her babies. So we have been able to be flexible despite the many changes of enrollment, and we have allowed families to return when they feel comfortable. As the year has gone on, our numbers have gone up and up to where most of our classrooms are almost all the way full now. Our 2 words for this year have been pivot, and there has been a heck of a lot of that, and grace. The staff have been amazing in their adaptability to these changes, and they have done it with such love and patience. Hearing the children laugh and play, watching them have fun with their friends and learn at school fills each one of us up. As you know, Hope PDO and Preschool has an excellent reputation in our community. We have never had to advertise for students. Most of our families come to us through word of mouth. I often get people calling or emailing me saying, I just moved here and my neighbors tell me I have to get my kids signed up at Hope Preschool. I hope you have room for us. And now after 41 years, we have students that are signing their own children up to attend Hope. So the main reason that we're here tonight is to talk to you about our next big project, which is the playground. As many of you know, many groups use the playground at Hope. Events and groups such as VBS, the Easter egg hunt, PEP, which is our after preschool enrichment program, camps held at Hope during the summer, along with Sunday schools and the child care kids. By the state rules and regulations, we should have a separate playground for our toddlers. In December of 1993, Hope received approval on an appeal to allow all of the children to be able to use the one playground with the need to keep an extra eye on the little ones. Those are Janet's little ones, by the way.
My babies.
That appeal was grandfathered year after year after year until 2017. Now, every 3 years, we are required to submit a new appeal. At any time, the state can repeal our waiver or deny future waivers. With this in mind, last winter, we started talking with Laura Heath, Hope member and trustee chair, to help us design a new playground. The last time the playground had anything done to it was 1999, and that was the addition of the large structure over 20 years ago. If you were to look closely at the fence, you would see that it really needs to be redone. Each year before school starts, Charlie goes around and does necessary repairs to make it safe. And it makes sense to update the playground at the same time that we're replacing the fence. We don't really want to piecemeal the whole project together. So it felt time to do the fence and the playground, and we were excited. And then COVID hit. So we had to put it off, and then I wrote another appeal this past December. So our hope now is to begin to move forward with the playground plans. We were blessed with the PPP loan forgiveness, so our reserve funds after paying staff in April and May were replenished. Praise God. We've always tried to save in case of emergency or to pay our staff if we needed to in an emergency. Who thought we would really ever need to do that, as Jackie and I always say, and always with knowing that we needed to redo the playground to bring us up to the state rules and regulations. To do this, we would need to remove the large structure, the fence, and the railroad ties. We would also happily remove all that pea gravel. We would be adding a smaller toddler area. Melissa's got her fancy red thing. She's, I think, gonna try and a concrete play area and a sports court. We would add a natural bridge and hopefully a climbing wall along with a sand creek for them to play in sand. There would, of course, be swings, a favorite of all kids. We would add a tree or two for shade along with the shade structure. Our goal is to create a beautiful space for the children with natural features and a sports court that is appropriate for all the ages that we have. The design that Laura came up with last year is a total makeover that we are excited about. Our hope is to start this summer with this presentation being the start of what we anticipate being the beginning of fundraising for us. So that's kind of what, where we're at right now. Where's our MC?
I'm right here. I'm right here. Okay, good. Well, thank you. Well, we'll open it up if anybody has any questions, anything preschool related for Robyn or Melissa. If you want to just unmute and ask, or if you want to put it in the chat, I'll help monitor that.
It wouldn't be fitting if I didn't have a question for you, Robyn.
Absolutely, Carol. I was ready for this.
I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Are you going to incorporate all of the old equipment, or will this all be new?
This will all be new equipment.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And we're hoping that we can actually, Laura Heath is pretty confident that we would be able to sell that large structure. So we
I'm sure you
can some
will.
of those funds and put it towards our project.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We need this so badly.
It looks great.
One of the really cool things is that Laura's plan incorporates this natural slope. So as you can see, the slide and the climbing structure would be just as part of where the playground slopes upward anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really cool idea. And then it also is safer for the kids because they're not climbing up to a high slide. You know what I mean? It's just all on the ground.
Yeah.
Stacy currently has her hand raised.
Yes, Stacey.
So just looking at it through, it's amazing, an equity lens has, and this might be something further down the line, but has the design of the playground taken into consideration where our children have, for children of all different various abilities?
Laura this is like her business. So we didn't really talk about that. When you're talking about abilities, you're talking about like mobility type issues, or is that what you're asking?
Yeah, so if it hasn't been addressed, I would like to make sure that that question gets asked and answered.
Yeah, so I think if you, the cement, and I can point to it, but you cannot see where I'm pointing. Here, right there where Melissa has the red, and all the way up here, that's straight cement going up. So there's no steps there.
That's good.
And Heather Macon, I know, was involved as well, making sure
Yes.
it was like occupational therapy kind of equipped as well, correct?
Right, yeah.
I'm not saying that quite correct.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying. Heather Macon, with being an occupational therapist, has, some input. And we didn't ever, this is the design that we started with, that we were really working on, and we were making tweaks and and working with her. She was going to start it in, I think it was July, was kind of the plan that we had after VBS last summer that and whatnot. And then COVID hit. So everything just, fell off the wayside. So we've
I have a question. I have a question.
Yes, Donna.
Is it basically going to use the same footprint as the current playground, or is it going to be bigger or bigger, or what's the footprint going to look like?
It is the same footprint that we have now outside of where Melissa's red circle is. That's just that little landing pad outside of the gate there. To do anything to go outside of the footprint that we currently have means dealing with Greenwood Village, which means years down the road this would happen, and an awful lot of work. So that's why we've decided that it's really best to use the same playground and the same footprint to make it safe for all the children.
So the sidewalk on the west side will remain pretty much the same?
Correct.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have another one for you, Robyn.
Yes, Carol.
Back in the day, way back in the day.
1999-ish.
The state required when we got that waiver for the younger children,
Yes.
that there are a certain number of pieces of equipment that were suitable for the 3 and unders so that they would have plenty of things of their own as opposed to what the older children would be using, even though in reality, we know everybody uses all of it.
Right.
Do they still have a quote rule that says there have to be so many things that the younger children can do? And can you have mixed groups out there at the same time, or will you have to just have all of the older children or all of the younger ones?
So good question. You don't have to necessarily have a certain amount of toys, but when I do the waivers or the appeals, I need to take pictures of where the toddlers play so that they can see that there is a sandbox, a playhouse, a little tiny slide for them. They can see that there's stuff just for them. I do have to do that. There is not a rule. They can't be out there at the same time.
Mhm.
They always have to be out there. That hasn't changed. They have to be out there with their own same age group. So the 1s to the 2.5s are considered, the younger toddlers. And then actually the 2.5s on up are considered preschool. So they just can't be out there at the same time. I always joke and say, we're not allowed to cross-contaminate the ages of the children.
And
So-
this spot right here would actually be fencing so that we could, even though everything will be usable for the toddlers, we would have that completely separate area that is required by the state.
And it would be talked about doing like a movable fence that we could take it down.
I see that Alina and Nancy have their hand raised.
Well, the accountant in me, I'm just wondering what your budget is for this project. What are you looking at to complete?
Well, we didn't get that far, to be honest, Nancy.
Okay.
We didn't get that far. We were getting ready to, we knew we had some money in our reserves, which of course, if we could fundraise and not touch that, that would be amazing. But we were ready to fundraise with the parents and working on all of that stuff last year when all of this hit. We had, our goal was to fundraise at the very end of the school year. And so I don't think it's downstairs, my little piece of paper. So y'all keep asking questions and I'll be right back and I'll grab that because I do have the paper she did give us.
All right, Melissa will now field all of the questions.
Oh, geez. We did get a quote from Laura, but it's now, 18 months old. So that's we're working on getting a new quote and getting the new plan. Because there are some changes to the original plan that we are in the process of making, so.
And we do still plan to open up this fundraiser to the PDO parents as well. This is not exclusive to the church.
We have great parents.
Mhm.
I'm sure they'll
And yeah,
come.
and some of our original designs when we were budgeting, I think included recreating a lot of the current playground and almost even creating two completely separate spaces. So really grateful that Laura was able to come up with a way for us to use that current footprint to avoid some of that additional costs.
Give me 1 second. I have to add it. She didn't, there's no total at the bottom.
Math, math, math. Woo!
My favorite.
The other thing that Laura really worked on with this design is this is really like the core pieces. So as we move forward, we can add more sensory things. We can change, you know, we have our core structure, but then we can, some of the smaller things we can change and move in and out as the years go on. I know often we get Eagle Scouts who are eager to do work for us. And so that could be something, you know, oh, let's add a sensory wall, let's add a music wall, things like that. So she really took that into consideration too, that it can really grow and change, which is kind of difficult in the current, how we currently have it.
Right. Okay. So the total that I'm coming up with is $68,000. And a lot of that is 24 of that is AstroTurf. Is the artificial turf, which is, I guess I can't move my arrow, Melissa, all that whole, yep, that whole area is all AstroTurf. So that's 24,000 of it. And 15,000 goes to concrete. Which you don't know, concrete's really expensive.
All that fun stuff.
I know.
Does
So
anybody
it's
else
actually working on getting us bidding out the materials again a year later.
And Robin, isn't that AstroTurf stuff kind of almost a requirement now?
Not necessarily, Carol. You actually still just need two different surfaces on there. So be it the pea gravel, and then we have the grass, and then we have the concrete. So they do need two surfaces.
You know, we'd miss the pea gravel tremendously.
Oh, I know.
Yes.
Our vacuums would miss the pea gravel immensely. Look at Jackie.
Oh,
how much
Getting
pea
rid of
gravel
that
comes
alone will
home?
be a cost
Oh,
savings.
I
The amount we have
know,
to
I know.
replenish, and then the
Oh.
parents and little girls can only wear certain shoes. And yes, it is everywhere. Fewer vacuums being
everywhere.
replaced also.
And again, another thing is we could probably advertise, and then people would come and take it happily off our hands for free with their own wheelbarrows.
Mhm. Part of Laura's thinking with the AstroTurf, or I shouldn't call it AstroTurf because I think it's way above that now, but
I
with
know.
the grass is that that grass is really difficult to keep healthy on that slope. It's really hard. There's a lot of reseeding that has to be done. And if you look on it by the end of the year, after winter, it's pretty bare. So this would be another way to sort of keep the care easier.
Yeah. And then the people wouldn't have to go in and mow it.
Mhm.
Yes.
And it wouldn't have to be sprinkled. So it's really a cost saver.
Yeah. In the long run, yes. And yeah, so that surprised me how expensive that was, but I think that that is expensive to get it to look good, and it would be pleasing to the eye year round.
The church needs it.
Does anybody else have any questions? Yes, Carolyn.
Okay, am I still muted or?
Nope, you're good.
Oh, okay, good. Now, so it was $68,000, and then you've got 39,000 if I can add correctly. What are some of the other, how do you get to 68?
Oh, here on the paper here. Let's see. 3,500 removal of the fence and the railroad ties and the sod. 5,500 to move the wall back to the fence. There's a concrete, the fence is here, and then there's a concrete wall here, just enough for kids to run up and down in. So we would move that concrete back, yeah, right kind of in there, and move that back to the fence. That actually will give us an extra probably 12 to 18 inches, depending on where that is. And then another 5,200 for the wall installation, more concrete block wall. Again, 1,500 for all of the asphalt for the kids and the walkway up to the top. Sports court tiles, only 1,200. That's up at the very top there. And about almost 7,500 just for the fence replacement there. And then the platform, the top picture on the right, so kind of maybe like a platform with a slide and whatnot also on there. So that's kind of the pricing. So really, and then we still have, there's some trees we need to put in there. So, and we actually have an Eagle Scout making us some benches right now as his Eagle Scout project.
Excellent.
So those will be real handy out there as well.
Very nice. Thank you.
I
Anybody?
apologize, Robin, if I'm speaking out of turn, but yeah, I mean, this playground is not just for the PDO, it is for all members of the church and their children as well. So would very much welcome any feedback or thoughts or suggestions that the church community has, and we will take into consideration. Again, this bid right now is 18 months old, and it's just our starting point, as is this fundraiser, our starting point. And how much we raise may determine, you know, what we can and can't do as well. But again, we will be looking to the parents also. And if it needs to be a phased-in approach, or, you know, whatever the right solution is, you know, we want to be cost conscious in how to do this, you know, appropriately within the financial means, but also to meet the needs of the children and meet all state regulations. But, you know, even past tonight, please do send in, you know, thoughts, comments, suggestions, definitely welcomed.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jackie.
I have one other question. It looks like there are plantings between the climbing stairway up and the slide down. How are you going to maintain that with the children falling off the slide and damaging the plants? And you know, it just seems like that might not be the best choice of material to put in a playground where you're having the little kids run around.
So this is just a example. So if this is just an example of using the natural slope, in the actual plans, this part would be a like a river, but made out of sand. So it would be like a sandbox kind of shaped river that
Okay.
the slide and the stairs would, and the bridge would go over. So this was sort of just to show you guys the idea of like using that natural slope to go up and down. But in the actual plans, this would just be sand.
Gosh, Donna, that's a good question. Could you imagine all those preschoolers?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Robin, one
Don't touch
Easter egg hunt and that would be gone.
What'd you
They've
say,
been playing,
Kate?
how many plants can we stomp out?
I said one Easter egg hunt and that would be gone.
I know, right? Yes, one Easter egg hunt or VBS, those kids.
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
That's honestly, Charlie sent me this photo of VBS, and I had to put it in there because it just shows, you know, your best laid plans. None of these kids are really using this equipment appropriately, and it's just
Gotta love those fourth graders.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but we use it. We do use it. So, I mean, the church is invested in this too, because it's not just the preschool. We do use it for all of our summer things, and sometimes just on Sundays or whatever, so.
Well, and I think with the AstroTurf and all that cement there, I think that with the older kids, I think that has a lot of options for them to do different things out there, you know, in that big grassy, artificial grass area. And down below, it's much bigger than what it is now. It's actually hard to, it's so different. It's actually a little hard for me personally, even to envision the entire plan like that. Because I'm used to 22 years. Carol, you're used to 40 years of it being the same way it's always been. Anybody else have any questions?
And so Robin, in the part that in the picture looks like a court, will that be where the children can also ride the tricycles or whatever you have?
Yeah,
Don't
the
you-
sport court in that area there. And the sport court will probably put like a little basketball hoop.
Yeah, but is there an area, don't you have an area now where they ride?
Yeah, it's pretty small.
So
You'll-
The
this is
narrow
the
part.
exist.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Oh, sorry, I was just gonna say, this is the existing gate or like where the parents go in, and then this is the existing front door. So this whole part is now pea gravel on this part. So we would actually be extending that concrete area so that the kids would have more spots to ride the cozy coops
Yeah.
and the cars and things like that.
And the narrow part would be kind of a little bit sloped so the kids can like get on their the little cozy coops and kind of go down that little slope where Melissa has that.
Charlie, did you have a question?
And just that we have a timetable for how long this fund drive might last, or we're just going to do it till we get the money?
That it's kind of like what Jackie was saying. I think we'll just have to see, Charlie, like what we get and then what the bid is, and then see how to work with it. And being that this is Laura's business, you know, we'll really talk with her about if we have to do, you know, it in 2 different sections, what's the best way to do that and whatnot. And she feels confident, though, she can also come in here and do it in, what did she say, Melissa? Like 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
And do the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, we would love to get it done this summer, especially if the number of groups using the church is still reduced this summer. That gives us a little bit more time. Whereas in years past, you know, we'd have like maybe 2 weeks after VBS and dance camp and cooking camp and all those others. So, yeah, it would be really nice timing if we could get it done this summer, at least in some part.
Robin?
Yes, Carol.
One more thing, and I won't say another word.
That's fine.
I have no doubt that the parents will be most generous. If that seems to be lagging, there's always the possibility of a classroom adopting a piece of equipment or an area and seeing if they would like to, you know, if they know that this is $3,000 or $500, you know, a classroom could adopt, or a couple classrooms.
That's a good idea.
Spur them on.
Yeah.
Well, I was telling Melissa or Alina that the other Melissa, that we have a very small church that I attend down here, but we had to carpet the basement. And so what we did is we had like a drawing of what we had to carpet, and we cut out little squares. And so we knew that a little square yard of carpet cost this much, and people could purchase that square. And so it didn't seem so daunting to donate a square yard of AstroTurf or carpet. And then on the drawing, we taped those little squares. And so we knew how far we were, you know, the project was coming along.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, those are some good ideas.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Anybody else? see all of you at the same time, so yell at me if I'm missing you.
There's the puppy.
Oh my gosh, look at that puppy. Oh,
I forgot to show you pictures yesterday, Robin.
oh.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, Robin, Melissa, thank you so much. I know everybody here values our relationship with you guys, and we're excited too. So yeah, just if you feel like contributing to the fund, checks to Hope in any way dropped off, mailed with PDO Playground on the memo line. Stacy and I are at Hope on Tuesdays between 10 and 1 and 4 to 6. If you have either physical or financial donations for any of our groups that we're supporting in Lent, so you're welcome to come visit us, pull up in the circle, and you can give us physical donations or financial donations, whatever you'd like.
Yeah, thank you everybody for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robin.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robin.
Thanks, Melissa. She put the slideshow together.
Oh,
Thanks, Melissa.
I
Well,
love
I-
working at Hope.
We need to thank all of you because I'm very happy that I did not have to go through figuring out this whole COVID thing with
Yeah.
with new playground. You know, definite huge kudos to you for making all this work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great job, guys. And next week, we've got Patty Jo, our very own Patty Jo Oakley, to speak about her travels with Project Cure. I think our soup next week is cheese soup. The recipe went out today in Hope Happenings also. And then just remember to sign up if you want to attend in-person worship. Sign up on the Sign Up Genius link in Hope Happenings. If you need any help with that, just reach out to any of us. We can help you out.
Thank you, Kate.